Hey everyone, my name is Sarah and I'm presenting with Amanda and Adrian, and we're going to be talking about Dynavision. So just about what Dynavision is, it's an attention task recorder, and this machine combines hand-eye coordination, peripheral vision training, and brain processing into one assessment. And the results of this assessment, it enhances performance, it's shown to have a faster recovery time, and it makes neural processing more efficient. It also addresses underlying visual motor reaction time, peripheral vision awareness, executive functions, active range of motion, and dynamic balance. So this one assessment has a lot that goes into it, which makes it really efficient. And as you can see in the picture at the bottom of the screen, it does have an interactive light board. And so what the patient will do is they'll stand in front of the board about a foot away from the front of it, and they're instructed to not move their neck, and they are told to locate and tap the red light when they see it illuminate. So you can see in the picture that it's a lot of white lights, and you can kind of see the one red one right here. And whenever that turns red, the patient will just tap it, and it shows what their reaction time is. So it improves skills like balance, gross motor skills, as well as functional mobility. Just some conditions for use. So some different settings that Dynavision is seen in includes athletic training facilities, some military bases, sports teams use it, as well as hospitals. And it can be used for a variety of diagnoses such as concussion, stroke, traumatic brain injury, and some visual field impairments. As far as concussions go, it is shown to reduce the incidence of concussion, symptom severity after concussions occur, and the overall occurrence of future concussions. I did find an article by Clavora about driving and how Dynavision is used with driving. And so there were several participants who had been in prior cerebrovascular accidents, and they had all failed behind the wheel driving tests prior to Dynavision. But after using Dynavision, the results showed that it improved behind the wheel driving assessments and improved their reaction times, so they became overall safer drivers.
Okay, so I'm just going to talk real quick about what a deficit or a poor score on this assessment would mean. So a poor score on the Dynavision can be indicative of eye-hand coordination deficits. So this could negatively impact driving, like Sarah was talking about, because you need eye-hand coordination to be able to keep the car in the middle of the lane and look out for hazards. And then an example of an ADL that's affected by eye-hand coordination deficits is brushing your teeth, because you need to be able to pick up the toothbrush, bring it up to your mouth while looking down at the counter or in the mirror to find your mouth. And then a poor score could also mean that someone has reaction time deficits. So reaction time is really important for safety and emergency maintenance, and if someone is struggling with reaction time, they may not be able to recognize sudden hazards and respond quickly enough to reduce the threat. And then again, I mentioned driving in this because you need a good reaction time to recognize that a traffic light has changed and that you need to remove the foot from the accelerator to the brake quickly enough. And then visual scanning is also used in this assessment. So if you score poorly on the assessment, that might mean that you have difficulty with visual scanning, and that can affect things like dressing and feeding. In dressing, it might be difficult if you're trying to find a shoe in a bin or a messy closet or finding other clothes. And then in feeding, it might be difficult for a patient or somebody to see all the food on their plate. And then again, I mentioned driving in here because you need to be able to visually scan for cars, pedestrians, any safety hazards, and traffic signs. And then lastly, visual scanning is important for community mobility. So whether you're walking or biking, you also need to be able to scan for cars and other people.
And so we've already talked kind of about what Dynavision is, the test itself, and then what deficits could be found through that use and what those would affect with your everyday activities. So the things that go into that are like the structures, brain areas and pathways to complete this successfully. So I've broken it up into structures and brain areas first. So mainly to do the Dynavision assessment, you're going to need your vision first and foremost. So your eyes to gather the sensory information, to see the light change, so that way you know where you're supposed to be clicking, and then your optic nerve to transmit that information back to your occipital lobe, which is where you would perceive the stimulus your eyes are picking up, and then those signals would get transferred to the frontal lobe, where you would make decisions about what you're supposed to do, and also the motor response related to recognizing that you need to get your arm to that red dot to click it. And then pathways that are indicated for success with the Dynavision assessment. Like I mentioned, the visual pathways, so that pathway from your eye, travel through the optic nerve and optic chiasm, back to your occipital lobe. That pathway is extremely important. Without that, you wouldn't be able to understand what you're seeing in your environment. Cortical bulbar tracts are also very important, especially those that control the cranial nerves of the muscles responsible for moving your eyes. Since you're not able to move your neck during the Dynavision assessment, it's important that your eyes are able to scan the board without actually moving your neck. And those cortical bulbar tracts, would be responsible for that. Some sensory tracts are also indicated, knowing where your arm is in space and being able to touch the board without, again, turning your neck and looking at it, is proprioception, which is the dorsal column medial lemniscal pathway. So without that, you would have a hard time getting your arm to the right position and pressing the button. And since you are moving your arms and you are standing in front of the Dynavision board, both motor tracts, the anterior and lateral corticospinal tracts, which help you stand, maintain your posture, and then move your axial muscles as well as your distal muscles and the muscles of your hands and the lateral corticospinal tract. Those are very important because without them, you wouldn't be able to move your arm, press the button, all those things that are really the main part of Dynavision.
And then I am just going to stop sharing for a second and, oh shoot. I don't know how to exit this PowerPoint. Okay. There you go. Can you guys hear that or no? Okay. Sorry.
No,
I'm
you're
trying to
good.
figure out how to, I don't know, share the,
Do you have to like exit the screen share and then share again and click? I think Manville says.
yeah.
We all love Zoom.
Sorry, y'all. I'm really trying to figure it out.
No, you're good.
Oh, yeah. Okay, share sound. I got it.
Yay!
Oh, shit.
Florida Hospital Peninsula Rehabilitation now offers a new technology to improve hand-eye coordination for patients with neurological injuries. It's called Dynavision.
Dynavision was originally developed to be used with professional sports teams to work on their gross motor coordination, their hand-eye coordination, and their reaction speed. And it was found to be very useful in the sports realm, but they also figured that it might be good to be used in the medical world of therapy as well. And so a lot of times we'll set it for 1 minute, and they're trying to get as many hits in that 1 minute as they can on the board. They have to find the light on the board first and then strike it.
In May 2013, Robert Troy had a stroke and came to Florida Hospital Peninsula Rehabilitation for therapy.
I did come in on a stretcher, and I was unable to stand, walk, because of the attention that was given to me by all the staff members. I was able to rehab myself so I could stand here now and I could speak to you. That particular instrument helped me with my coordination and my reflexes So I was able to drive by myself, that I don't have to depend on other people to take me around.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.